Today is going to be a little different on the live stream. There's a lot going on today. I always have to start when there's people in here. Sorry, talking to other coworkers here. Do you guys want to be on camera? No, like if I just pan it around. What? No, I'm not going to make you talk. We still have customers in the store, so we still have all the staff members here, our Sunday crew. Today's going to be a lot about plumbing, as you can already tell from the name of this video. I have some help for that. As promised, we finally have a guest speaker today. Be going around showing this tank and the Fowler tank as an example for the plumbing down below. However, first, for those of you that watch this purely to know what livestock we have in, I'm going to show that. We still have our naked clownfish as well as this juvenile lunar wrasse in here. We have the lieutenant tang. Never mind, the foxface is sold. There is still the miniatus grouper in here, and the juvenile queen wrasse, or the Formosa wrasse. These guys are coming off of hold real soon. There was a parasite scare, however, they all have been clear for a while. I'm still just holding them a little bit longer. We're gonna give them water change, scrape all the algae, double check with a flashlight one more time, and then they will come off of hold. We have our storm clowns yet. They are looking great. They're getting bigger. They're finally comfortable in this tank, so they're showing off a little bit more. That black and white Kamohara blenny, that's captive bred. We have some cleaner wrasse. There's one of them. There's multiple others in the store. This is one of the flame hawks that we brought out this week. With the orange storms, another cleaner wrasse. Still the baby gem tang, which is becoming bigger and bigger. There is also a line spot flasher wrasse in here, however, it is very shy. Some captive bred purple tangs came out this week. One already sold. I believe I still have two of them. Maybe. Where's the other one? We might have sold the other one. Okay. Well, so we have that purple tang, a bicolor foxface, a copper band, crowd pleaser right there. It is eating frozen food. Another flame hawk, the flurry pair, some Springer damsels, another cleaner wrasse, and that very fat striped blenny is still here. Someone's got to come grab him. Purple firefish, the regular orange Ocellaris clowns. There's a couple of purple firefish in there. There also is an elongate dotty back hiding in here. It is very shy. It's usually down below in the rocks. Elongate dotty backs are more reddish, orangish in color, but it's a very young one. We have a regular sailfin. I've got a lot of the Des Jardinis through lately, but this is just your normal high contrast black and brown and white sailfin. This one has a really pretty fin shape. Coral Beauty Angel. A couple Da Vinci clowns left. We might just be down to, oh, they're down to 3. Okay. Surprised they haven't picked on the one odd man out yet. There's another Kamohara blenny hiding somewhere in here. The black Miss Bar clowns, and then some Talbot damsels came out. Here we still have the pair of Clarky clowns and a Tamini tang. Pair of naked clownfish. There's another itty bitty Tamini tang. He's hiding behind that rock right there. And pajama cardinals. Some of those guys left. This Humu Humu trigger is still available, and we have an eel. There's a little zebra eel. This is medium size. He's about 18 inches. Currently eating silver sides, krill, clams on the half shell. He's been a good eater so far. Still have the lemon damsels, another flame hawk, and a Valentini puffer. The tank is still up. As far as I know, was not sold today. Oh no, he's hiding in the back. He's just a cute little Valentini puffer. You could kind of see him back there. The Falco hawk is still here. And then a Scopus tang. We sold a lot of tangs this weekend, but we still have this guy. Beautiful pink-tailed trigger, that tomato clown, the big lunar wrasse, the Desjardini sailfin tang, and this big gold spotted or orange spotted foxface, not foxface, rabbitfish. The puffer has sold. He is no longer available. We did get new corals in. A lot of our same corals, some just bigger colonies. There's a bigger colony of acan echinatas. We have one elegance left. Most of them have sold. Some nice big colonies of acans. I do not have my filter, I apologize. We have a, it's hard to see, but that's a blue-tipped like black torch right there. We do have some green pallies for those of you who love pallies and don't mind the chance of palitoxin. For the most part, it's not a risk unless you're trying to cut them apart and frag them. I do not recommend fragging them. We have two really nice long Goniopora. And then we have the short tentacle Gonies right here. Some super nice Platygyra. Okay. Real fast, we have Royal Grammas out. There's some pink skunks in there, or a pink skunk. There's a multicolor fairy wrasse, also known as a Lovex fairy wrasse. There's a Yashagobi in here. We have three. My goodness, we still have three Hellfricky firefish in here. A Bangai cardinal, and there is a Pictus blenny hiding somewhere in there. There's also two little mandarins that are almost ready to go. If you have a small tank and are interested in a baby mandarin, come talk to me. If you have a big tank, high flow, lots of fish that are going to be food aggressive, these guys are not ready to go for you then. Joel. It's Fleming. Gonna have to read the description. We'll get there in a little bit. Flameback angel, regular firefish, another Royal Gramma. There is a yellowfin fairy wrasse hiding in here. He's gorgeous. He's huge, but he's very good at hiding. There's a bicolor blenny. Another Yashagobi. Another flameback angel. Ooh, this wrasse is out and about. That is a Carpenter's Flasher wrasse. The Picasso pair. Another Pictus blenny. Still have this little Bellis angel. Remember, that is a reef safe angel. Firefish, Royal Gramma, neon gold stripe, cleaner gobies, Bangai cardinal. This guy's hiding, but you can see his cute little face. That is a splendid pintail fairy wrasse. Super cute. Hector's goby in there. Let's see, is he on about? He's usually right at the front. I don't know where he went. But, oh, he's right there. He's up at top. So the orange and, or sorry, yellow and black stripes. There's the baby gem tang. Another Royal Gramma. We have a bunch of Royal Grammas, guys. Firefish, Flametail blenny, indigo, captive red dotty back, the tangerine albino ocellaris pair. Actually, those do not look like ocellaris. Those are Percula. Those are definitely Percula. And the black lime blenny. We have this cute little cherub angel, also known as the Atlantic pygmy angel. Clown, Royal Gramma, more purple firefish. And that is almost it for the fish. We have this tank. I love this tank. This is my favorite tank. Just real fast, we do have some new rock flower anemones. We have some red ones in. Still have the big Sinorina. There's another big fat baby mandarin ready to go for a small tank, but not a big tank. Still have 4 baby tongue corals. There is a red striper goby hanging out in that back wall. He is a great nano goby, so you can come get him for $60 if you have a tiny little tank with softies and maybe some rock flowers, just a little tank, and you just want this tiny little bright, brave fish that's going to be this pop of color. Come get him. He's perfect. All right. That concludes the livestock for today. You ready?
Guys? My name is Adam. I work here at the Aquatics Unlimited. I'm here today to talk to you about some plumbing stuff. As you can see in this display right here, the reason why I really like plumbing is when you look at these displays, a lot of times you're doing the all-in-one tanks, you're doing some of the stuff where you don't have a filter down here. You see a ton of stuff in your filtration. Heaters, wave makers, all that kind of thing. When I'm spending big money on the saltwater stuff, don't really like seeing that stuff, so once I started getting into it a little bit more, I started moving down to some stuff down here, because you see a ton of that heaters, your filtration, all that stuff gets hidden down here, so your display ends up really clean. So if you look at the display like this, you can see it's really clean. If you look at the one down here, the only thing you're really seeing is the wave makers in the back. If you get them black, you have a black background, you don't see anything, so your focus is on those corals, the fish, all those really nice things that you want to make it look like you've got a slice of the ocean. Now with that said, a lot of times when I hear problems about plumbing, it's too loud, you don't know how to do it, things of that nature. My goal here today is to kind of go over some basic things to just kind of get that, show that it's not that daunting. So we go back to this one over here.
I've been told you need a mic.
I need to talk louder. All right, I'll put my teacher projection voice on.
Here, do you want to hold it?
I can hold it. All right.
There you go.
So a lot of times you'll see some stuff like down here. This can look super scary, but like I said, the thing I really like about it is you can get things added. If you want to put a UV filter on, you can add that in. You can have control valves. You can have a nice big skimmer that's not one of those things that's hang on the back skimmer that's pushing it super far off the wall. You can fit some clownfish and stuff in here sometimes. You can have all your live rock in here to kind of boost your water volume up, so if you're dealing with medication, dealing with sickness, dealing with keeping salinity straight, makes it a lot easier when you have a increased water volume. So you'll notice we got some holes back here. If you see in the aquarium here, we've got that thing called an overflow box. Now what that does is that keeps the water from draining straight down to the sump. Once the water gets to a certain level in the display itself, it'll go down to that overflow box, and there's a couple of different options. There's a couple different drains that I'm going to talk about in just a second. I'm going to have Amanda hold the microphone while we go over. A couple key things I want to point out is this thing right here. That's a control valve. I'm going to go over that in just a second. Then there's this other one here. This one's called a gate valve. The gate valve does a little bit more precise measurement. I'll go over that in just a second here, though. All right, hold this, go to the other side of the counter here. So when you're plumbing your aquarium, there's a couple of different things. There's 3 kind of main styles of drains. The first one that a lot of people have and a lot of those kit tanks come with is this right here. This is called a Durso style drain. This one doesn't have a ton of flow, and when you're in salt water, you want a ton of turnover, so you really want that high flow rate. This is kind of your run-of-the-mill one. A lot of kit aquariums come with it. I'm not a super big fan of this one because you get a ton of air in it. So the way it works is you put this in your aquarium, there's a hole right on the top there that lets air in, but it also prevents your water from going really quickly, so you don't get that high flow rate with this guy, and you'll end up getting a ton of bubbling down below. You can get salt creep, stuff like that. I never was a really big fan of that, so I ended up getting a different aquarium because this is kind of the standard one if you have 2 holes in that overflow box. This is kind of the one a lot of people do. There's a different variation of it that I'm going to go over in just a second. This one I believe is called the Herbie style drain. And what that one is it's a siphon like this, so you're not getting stuff that clogs this line. Oops.
You're good, Adam.
And an emergency line, so what happens is if this were ever to clog, your water level in your sump would in your overflow box would rise up to this point right here, letting all that water go down so that you're not pumping water from your sump into your display, overfilling it. This one here tends to be the more silent one because what you do is after you have your 2 bulkheads installed with your emergency drain and your siphon, you put a ball valve or a gate valve below it. You're essentially choking it down so that this is completely underwater. There's no air in your line. It sounds pretty quiet, so you're not hearing all that turnover that you get with that Durso style drain and with some of those other pumps and things like that. So that's probably the one that I like the most. You can kind of convert any aquarium that has 2 holes to this setup as long as you have your return go outside your aquarium and over. Some people might not like that, but that's just some things to consider when you're buying your nice displays and things like that. The last one is a combination of the 3, or the combination of the 2, which is you have your Durso style drain, you've got your siphon with that ball valve beneath it, and then you've got your emergency drain. That's the bean animal overflow. It takes a lot of holes, which is kind of the problem, but it ends up being the quietest one and the most, beneficial. You get a way higher rate of flow, which is what you're looking for saltwater with that turnover.
This is what I have on my reef display at home.
Yep, it's the best one. I bet it sounds super quiet. You don't really hear it at all. So you really, again, are focused on the fish. You're focused on the coral. You're not hearing all those pumps. You're not seeing all that junk in your aquarium. Now, a couple quick plumbing tips too that I got before I end here is when I really like, when I start plumbing my aquariums, I really like the threaded bulkheads, because this is the part that's most likely to kind of go bad in your whole thing. So I want to be able to get this out without having to redo my whole system. So when I do that, I use the pipe joint compound. It's a little bit goopy, it's a little bit messy, but Teflon tape can expand and kind of crack your bulkhead. So you would take this stuff here, goop it on there, thread it in, and then you take something like a union and put that with another pipe. Some point down the line, I would prefer to have this, going down and have this closer, but this allows me to be able to take this bulkhead out and replace it, because all I got to do with this union is unscrew it, and now I can unthread the whole thing. And so now I'm just replacing either a tiny part or just the bulkhead itself and not having to redo my whole plumbing. When you're doing this, always kind of be these unions here, your friend. It makes it so much easier to kind of be able to bend the plumbing and to make it line up with these things, because it just gives you an opportunity to kind of fit things the right way, but also still have the flexibility to attach them later. And when you're gluing stuff, you always want to, I use this stuff here, this OD Fusion stuff. I don't really like the 2-part. I get the one here this time. Big thing with that is I always test everything with cutting it, making sure it all fits together. I take a Sharpie marker. I'm not gonna do all that stuff on these parts just because I gotta sell them later. But you would take you would draw a ring around here, because that shows you how deep you want to put it in. You're going to put a line right here and a line right here. Whenever you're gluing parts together, you kind of goop up the one end. You can put a little bit on the other end, and you want to twist it in there to get that nice strong seal. But my goal again is just, if you have any other questions about plumbing, feel free to put them in the chat, or feel free to come into the store, because I'm here on the weekends. I love talking plumbing. That's like my favorite thing once I got into it. But it really is a nice way to make your aquarium display look really, really clean, with all these great, again, with having all the attention be on your coral, have it on your fish, the kind of part that you're getting a slice of ocean right in your living room.
Thanks, Adam. All right, let's also talk about why to even plumb. Why would you have a sump? Adam, what's your favorite part about having a sump on a tank?
My favorite part about having the sump on the tank, again, is that display just looks super clean. I don't have to see a heater. I don't have to see all that other stuff. But additionally, it gives you a ton of extra options with filtration. You can have a pump, whatever pump you'd like to use. You can have your skimmer. You can have all that. It keeps your aquarium close to the wall, so you're not having it come off and have it really be big and bulky. But it also gives you a ton of customizable options. Like if you're looking down here, I've got filter socks in here, so I can have that mechanical filtration. There's a ton of different options you can put in here. I can put a skimmer if I so want, right here where it's giving me all the benefits of a skimmer. In this chamber here, I can start growing a refugium. The thing I really like about the refugium is it's like growing it's like if you're doing your lawn and you have all these weeds, right? You're like, man, I want to get rid of all these weeds in my lawn. They look terrible. And a refugium essentially gives you a spot in that lawn where you're like, all right, I'm going to grow a weed here, out of the display, out of where people are looking at my lawn, and it's going to outcompete everything, take the right nutrients. And so now you're avoiding algae in your aquarium here. So I really like the refugium. And you got your return chamber here. Here, they had it plumbed so that it goes through a UV filter. Something you don't necessarily need to have, but if you want UV, you can put that on there. I really like the customization here. You can make it as complex or as simple as you want it to, but the idea is you have all these options. You can hide your heater in there so you don't have to see that metal tube in your display with your fish interacting with it. It just makes your display look that much cleaner. And yeah, that's really my love of sumps.
Okay. A couple things I'm going to add there as well. You just get a ton of water volume. With the refugium, you do need a whole lot of algae in order to get the biggest benefit out of it, but they are great. You can see I'm growing mangroves in ours. Another thing with the refugium, it keeps your water level in the tank equal. I can tell this tank here, I wasn't here earlier today, they probably sold a bunch of corals out of it as well as it had evaporation. The sump is actually quite low right now. The water level is usually up to here at this mark. So the water level evaporates first and then you see that in your sump versus up here in your display. But it is important then to keep an eye on the sump. We don't have an automatic top off on these guys because they're sail tanks, and because we're constantly pulling water out, it would just be dumping fresh water in and we don't want that. Oh, Joel, I didn't even see your comment, but yes, how does an ATO work with the sump? So we do have an ATO on our reef display because we're not selling out of this and the water level's not lowering for any reason except for evaporation. I can throw an ATO on here. So down below, which by the way, this is nice for those of you who are like, I'm not going to keep it clean enough to be a display, you can just hide it. This chamber is our RO water. This is our top off water. There is a tiny little sensor right here. So that is our ATO sensor. This maintains the water level at the height. You won't be able to see it here. Oh, thanks, Adam. You'll see that blue thing right there. It maintains the height of the water level at that sensor in this chamber. This is the Duetto pump, by the way. It has a little pump, and then that sensor triggers the pump to suck water out, taps it off. There's the tube for it, and voila. You never have to worry about your salt level changing. We don't ever have a different salinity in this tank, which is perfect because corals and fish, but mostly corals, hate changing salinity, so it just helps us maintain the stability of this tank. I do not have a refugium down here. I don't have a light on it. However, these corals pull out so many nutrients, there is no need for a refugium on this tank. For those of you that are watching this just because you like following aquatics, but you don't have a saltwater tank, this is the saltwater live stream, but oh, hello. Hi, random followers. We still have Claire here, as well as the other random dude. That's Nate. That's my husband. Joel, Nate wanted you to know that he did beat you to this week. He was technically first on the live stream because he's here in person. Okay, anyway, this sump right here also is a planted sump, but this is for our discus tank. These guys do have plants, but we're so worried about any high nitrates in a discus tank that we have the secondary basically veggie sump here, because any paludarium plants, any terrarium plants, anything that's growing out of the water pulls out far more nitrates than aquatic plants below the water. So that's why we have these guys, as well as all of our biofiltration. Just look how they have this just chocked full of bio balls. Joel, I don't know if that's cheating or not. And then this sump is a mixture of hard plumbing. You can see that gate valve there that Adam was talking about, as well as flexible plumbing. Adam, you want to talk about flexible versus hard plumbing? I know we prefer hard plumbing, but a lot of newbies start with flexible plumbing.
So the flexible plumbing is really nice because it's a really easy way to get into it. As you can see here, this pump is flex tubed into some UV filters here and then gone back. The thing with the flex tubing is oftentimes it can kink. It can be really difficult to kind of keep things from decaying over time, so the hard plumbing tends to be a little bit nicer. Additionally, depending upon how you're doing this, these pipes have to hold their own weight, which can be difficult depending upon what size tubing you have, and other times trying to get those the tubing onto the barbs can be a little bit difficult, like you can see up here. A little bit of hot water always really helps with that. We have the metal tube holders on there, so like this metal thing here keeps that tube compressed on the barb so that you're not leaking water there. That's just another spot for it to leak. That's where another place where vinyl tubing I'm not a big fan of.
Are you talking about the hose clamp?
The hose clamp, that's the word that I was looking for earlier. Tube clamp, you know. But it's really nice because it does keep it nice. A lot of times you can take your canister filters and adjust them to use that vinyl tubing to make some of the other displays look a little bit nice. I've done that before. But it's just a little bit, it's just another spot for things to leak where glue is not going to leak. The other thing that I'd love to touch on with sumps is, for those of you that hate paying for mechanical filtration, you oftentimes in these sumps, I don't know if there's any in here right now, but you'll use filter socks. I know I have some over here. That's going to grab all your mechanical filtration, and you can throw those in your washer, wash them out, and reuse them, which is really, really nice. And there's different sizes for them, so you can have kind of filter at your own desire of what you're trying to get out there.
All right, that's all we had on plumbing today. Are there any other questions? Next week it should be dosing. Good job, Adam. All right, thanks, Adam, for staying late and joining me on this. All right, guys, thanks for joining our live stream. If you have any other questions, still feel free to comment on this. We can answer later on. We won't be answering tonight, but tomorrow when I come in, I'll check comments on this and help you guys out. Otherwise, feel free to message us or come in. There are more people here that can answer plumbing questions. Not just Adam, but on the weekend, Adam is the guy for plumbing.
Love plumbing.
All right, thanks, everyone. Did you just run into the cart? All right, that's a great moment to end. Thanks, guys. Bye.